G'day, guys. Welcome back to Supercoach with DR and welcome to the round 19 review. Hope you had a much better round than me. A bit of a disaster round, to be honest. Now, it was based off my own decisions. I may have played this a little bit too conservatively, but I'll explain my method to the madness as we take a look at the side. But Red Arrows this week down 271 spots, just outside the top 700. So very, very disappointing. You know that I stuffed up my captain last week, had Don Dogger instead of Chalky. Could have been inside that top 400. A week later, outside the top 700. So the goal of the top 250, it's getting a little bit harder now, but hopefully because I've played it a little bit more conservatively this week, it'll give me a bit of a leg up in the coming weeks. Fingers crossed. That's a plan anyway. But 2275 for a round score simply won't cut it, particularly at this stage of the season. Lots of teams out there, 24, 2500 type scores. And I'm sitting here with a 22 something. But it's only a week. And a week can be a long time in football, a long time in Supercoach. I know that I may potentially be dealing with a fair bit of carnage this week. Don't know what's going on with your Rosies, your Dogger types. I'm hoping they'll be okay, but if not, we've got some big decisions on our hands. So 2 trades in the bank, about 5 weeks left. Hopefully we can do something in regards to the rank and get close to that top 250. But either way, it's been a fun yet frustrating year with lots of lessons learned. But we'll take you through the side, talk about what my potential plans may be this week, and then take a quick look at the captains, I suppose. So hope you enjoy, guys. Hope that your team's going well. Let's see how mine's going. Alrighty, so where do I actually start here? Well, I suppose first we'll take a look at the premiums that I was actually missing last week. So obviously Yo was out with soreness. I decided not to trade him. I had a really itchy trigger figure because I thought Dan Houston may be coming up with a really big score this week, and it was basically a straight swap, Yo to Houston. But given the fact he was only listed as being out with soreness, I thought surely it's only going to be a week. We know he's got injury history. Durability is terrible when it comes to Yo. But I thought soreness probably isn't worth using one of my last 2 trades. And I've got the Fish, who's back. Now, the Fish, I'll get to him in a sec. The other bloke, obviously, is Max Gorn, who was out. You got Dogger covering there. And luckily, both Dowling and Manor have been scoring really, really well, particularly for the price that I paid for them. So shout out to those 2 lads. But Gorn and Yo out, 2 premiums missing. And that 23rd premium that I thought would be a real ace up the sleeve in Zach Fisher, who is covering defence and my forward line. I thought he would be my knight in shining armour this week. Unfortunately, he was absolute poo, a 38. Now, the question marks were early on the week, like, would he be selected? He was selected. And the great thing was originally, in the original teams, he was actually named on field at half-back with McKercher on a wing. Then I think it was when the Friday night teams came out, he was then relegated to a spot on the interchange. We were thinking, oh, surely not. He can't go half-back, interchange, starting sub. Surely not. I rolled the dice because I thought, nah, I don't think he'll start as a sub. I was correct. Unfortunately, the bloke got subbed off. Now, why didn't I trade out Zach Fisher? I was so close to just doing a simple sideways Fisher to Caldwell. And I think I may have even made cash on that when I was thinking of pulling the trigger on that trade. The reason why I haven't got rid of him is because he's so important to my structure. He's the man, the only man, that is covering down back for me. If I've got an injury down back without a Zach Fisher, it's Will Dawson down there. And him along with Reed simply not getting a game. Now, I think he's fit and healthy, Dawson, just not getting selected. Even if he is selected as a forward option, I don't think he'll score well. And also with Logue back, Common's gone there. I just don't see a spot for him unless a couple of the big men go down. So I've just got no coverage here. That's why I needed to keep on to him. What I'm thinking now, however, is while he's still got a little bit of value to him, and I'm getting into my trading now, aren't I? He's got a break even of 156. So if I'm trading him to anyone half decent, and I say half decent, it's got to be this week. And I'm thinking that if I do trade him to anyone, it will probably have to be a defender because I've got the luxury of having Dowling, Jackson normally be there, Manor can come up as well. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. Uh, where else did I go wrong? The captaincy again. So I was so salty on this. I actually got, and I was going to name and shame this person, but yeah, I thought they were a pretty helpful, reliable type ex-user. I've had lots of great convos, etc., etc. I was actually playing them in a league match this week, and I know it was a little bit of banter, but it screwed my head. My fault for falling for it. But right at the last second, I got a message come through saying that, mate, 100% Neil Bullen will be blanketing Caleb Sarong. Don't captain him. You've helped me out with a few videos. I'll do you a favor. All right. Because it was Sarong or Luke Ryan, because I wasn't really keen on, and because I was talking to Abs during the week and we're talking about the captaincy. And he said, I'm going away from Zeret because I don't want to have to lock in like an awkward 115, 120 type score when Butters is coming up against Richmond, when he could go absolutely off tap. So I thought that's a really good way of looking at it. So decided to VC Butters, which I thought was really, really lucky in the end, because I think about 25-30% of the top 1% had him as a backup captain option. Many of them went your Zach Merritts, for example, in the earlier game. And so it was always going to be Butters into Sarong for me. I started getting cold feet maybe a few hours before the game, put a tweet out, what do you reckon out of these options? Neil, Sarong, and someone else. I forget who it was. And Neil won the poll, and I thought, no, I'm not going to go Lockie Neil. I reckon a tag's coming. I thought it would be James Jordan. It wasn't James Jordan, but it was a mixture of Parker and Adams, but they certainly did the job on him. So really lucky I didn't go there. Then it was Luke Ryan as a backup option. I was thinking potentially Sam Walsh, but just didn't trust him. So it was Luke Ryan. I thought Pearce is back in. Walker's back in. Hopefully we've freed up a little bit, even though you've got Melksham that may play a little bit of a role on him. Just didn't work out. So lost, 41 points there in a week where I just could not afford to lose any points with my captain. But that's probably where the major things sort of went wrong there. And when I say went wrong, like I could have decided to trade Gawn to Sherry a couple of weeks ago, would have had many more points in the bank here, and just say the Yo to Houston would have given me an extra, 60, 70 odd points, whatever Houston scored there. So disappointing, but I made those decisions because I just thought having those 2 extra trades up my sleeve may be a real advantage. Now, injury concerns, I think it was a hip pointer with Rosie. Apparently, he's should be right for next week, or that's what Kenny Hinkley said anyway. Just a cautious approach. Same as Luke Jackson as well. Just precautionary stuff here, given the fact that they'll win the game. Didn't really need him at that stage. So he should be right, I've heard, for this week. Gawn, well, he was very close to getting up last week, participated in the match sim. So I'm assuming, just logically, that he should be back this week. So that's going to be handy. Grundy, did he get injured? I'm not too sure. Anyone else? No, don't think so. And obviously, Fisher, he was a sub. So Sheasel 138, absolutely brilliant. And shout out to the person on X, I forget who it was, that said, go Sheasel as a captain. That would have been really safe, very sensible as well. Dacos with 106, not seeing ceiling games, not an absolute disaster though. Ryan and Dale with 99s. It's okay. But when you got Lockie Whitfield going 130 plus, Houston going half decent, or did he not, Houston? I can't even remember what Houston did this week, but it does hurt seeing your Whitfield types scoring a lot better than these guys. Martin was on a 60, I think, at halftime, ends up a 90, super disappointing. We'll talk about what to do with the Fish, but a 38, shocking there. Chalky got clamped down, which is unfortunate, but what a win for Brisbane. Very, very proud of my boys for their efforts this week. Big shout out as well, Shadow Brain and Cam Rayner. Shadow Brain, couple of really, really important marks. I don't know if I've mentioned this during the intro. And Cam Rayner, absolute bull, untackleable, this bloke when he's on, and kept us in the game when Sydney had that big run of, 6-something goals in a row. The Bont 122, that would have been a nice, easy VC just to lock in. And that's another thing with the captains. Do we just lock in 120s now, 115s, with all the carnage that we're getting? I'm sort of lowering my captain ceiling, my VC ceiling, in regards to what I'll actually take. I think at the moment, just cannot hit a good captain score. This is just, Yeah, can't believe it. Graham was out. All the planets were aligning for this bloke just to knock it out of the park as a VC. And 89, just super disappointing. Zeret was also disappointing with a 108. Rosie, 113. He's been brilliant since I traded him in. Just hope that he's right for this week. The Schlong finally hit back, and the signs were there, playing Melbourne at home. I just got trolled into this comment, and it is what it is, I should have seen past it, but I fell for it. It is what it is. Walshy, 94. Just not really cutting it, is it? But I'm always comparing him to Jordan Dawson. He's out this week. He only scored a low 80. So a slight win for me if I'm comparing the two players. This bloke here, I actually used as a loop, Kynan Brown. He laid 24 tackles, if you don't mind, on the weekend. Was it like 24 plus touches, I think, as well? Surely he gets a gig the way Melbourne played. He's got to come in with that pressure and tenacity. So, yeah, big shout out to the young man. Tom Green, you can see that I actually looped him here. I was contemplating, I actually was looping him with Mana, but a 117, you're obviously taking that every day of the week. So, well done, Tommy. Good to see him in some better form. Mana, it was either Mana or Dowling. And the reason why I selected Dowling at the end of the day was that if Dowling didn't score well here, then I would have potentially traded Elliot Yeo, brought Fisher back up on field and just got out of Yeo if this was a bad score. But an 83 is absolutely terrific. Last quarter specialist here. And Mana was off to a flying start. I wasn't actually watching this game, but just looking at the scores. And yeah, really solid for a 95 as well. Actually outscored Humphreys, who has been a much more popular selection anyway in the last month. So yeah, well done to Shawnee Mana there. Gorn didn't play. Grundy, super disappointing with the 72. This was tough on a week where we saw Sherry go 100 plus. I suppose Nank and TDK. So it wasn't as bad as what it could have been as it was for others, I suppose. But English did really well. Rowan had a good game as well. So that hurt a little bit, owning Brodie Grundy on a week like this, and obviously not having Maxi as well. Dogger, a shout out to him. 96, playing that second fiddle. That's all good with me. So shout out to Dogger. He's been a great selection for me this year. Almost averaging 100, filled in so many times in the ruck during buys and all the rest. So, yep, shout out to Dogger there. Sammy Flanders, the run just continues. Another 100 plus, 128. I'll potentially select this bloke in my midfield next year. Big fan of Sam Flanders. Started him last year as well. Probably a little bit early there, but yeah, what a talented player he is. Caldwell, now, don't know exactly. He was the other one, the potential injury as well. Don't know exactly what's going on here, but it wasn't the HIA, apparently. It was something to do with his ribs or his side or something like that. I'm hoping he'll be right. If not, the injury curse just continues. And what you wouldn't love, isn't it frustrating, when you finally get to full premium? In my case, I thought who's a premium? Simpkin premium, you're not too sure, but let's just say almost close to 23 here, and you just can't get them on the park in the same week. It's just absolute carnage, but we expect this, and this is why we hopefully can save a few trades up our sleeve. Heaney, terrible with a 72, just out of form. That must be his lowest score for the year, I'd say. Zorko with a 129. He was just on from the go, so well done from the get-go, sorry. So, yep, awesome to see 129. Simpkin, what on earth happened here? Now, wasn't he on 30-something at quarter time? How does he fizzle out like this? I just don't know. So he's been so up and down, Jai Simpkin, but, well, he's not the worst player to have in your forward line. 1 week you want Simpkin, then you say, I hate Simpkin, I want Curnow, then I'll probably switch the next week. So who knows there. Dawson didn't play. Then I had Dowling, as I said, big shout out for him for his 83. So let's see what the team looks like at its full potential here. So we get Tommy Green on, and I'll do all the loops and all that in a minute. We'll get Dogger. Bakary really belongs in the forward line there. Bring him up. Dowling, okay, Mana, and the Fish. Okay, so we're obviously full premium here. Simpkin is the sort of bloke that I will loop along with Dogger with your Dowling or your Mana. The issue that I'm going to face here is that if I trade out Zach Fisher for a defender, I'm going to be stuck with Will Dawson here unless I trade him for someone with the same DPP, and I'm just not keen on anyone, I don't think, at this stage with that DPP. So there's two in the bank, and as I said, I don't know what carnage I'm having to deal with this week. So I don't know with Yo. So that's one. And I'm just looking on field for now. Potentially 2, potentially 3, potentially 4. And Fisher potentially dropped, but not currently on field. So there's 4 to 5 question marks, and not sure here with Gawn either. So it's tough to know exactly what the team sheet's going to look like. But for now, and this may be wishful thinking, I'm going to assume that all the players you see here currently on field will be getting up to play this week. That is the hope. If that's the case, I've got a decision on my hands here. Now, if Fisher doesn't play, the decision will be will be easier, that I probably just won't trade him. I'll just hold for now. Because the way that I see it, with 2 trades left, would I rather use it on a Fisher to go someone under 500k, or else would I just trade out the premium themselves, depending on who they are? So that's a question that I've got up my sleeve here. Let's just say that I get a defender here. Then what happens if one of my big forwards goes down, ruck or a midfield? I suppose with the midfield, I can get a Yo in there for a Sard, for example, but it certainly won't be ideal. If I do trade Zachy Fisher, and if he plays this week, it's a big decision, isn't it? Am I forced into it with a break even of 156? I almost feel that I am, because you know that the quality that you'll be looking at next week, if you need to move him on, for example, just won't be there. 156, if he starts as a sub, or even somehow manages to start the game, which I don't think he will, and comes off as a sub, if he scores a 50 odd, then he's losing 50 odd K. And all of a sudden that price tag of 473, which was over 500 last week, is down to 420 odd. And there's nothing I can do. So I'm going to select players by the highest price here. And I've got 502. So anything under 500k, I'm good for. But the names, and I'd love to get a Tom Stewart in with his new midfield role, but I can't do that. Even a Trent Rivers, I'd love to get in at 524. Max Holmes is 522. Another bloke I'd love to get in. I can't even get in Nazaya. There is one bloke. Oh, it's going to be frustrating. This is the most frustrating thing here. Look at that. I'm 5k. I've got a team value of over 14.5 mil, whatever it is, and I stinging for 5k. That would have been such an easy trade. Then you're looping your Martin types, probably Yo types. Do you even loop a Houston type potentially? Super frustrating. I can't go there. Even Nick Newman, as a pod, 3,400 under for him. So I can't go Nick Newman. I can't believe I'm going to do this, but I think I'm going to have to. The Lizard, I just don't know. 5 rounder 98.6. The 3 round is only 76.7. 7.8% of sides. Probably not. You got Stephen May, 124. For an average of 90 on the season. Now, what's his recent form? So break even of 43. Actually, would this be the craziest trade? Let's forget this 23. Don't know what happened there. 106, 90, 96, 93, 66, 91, 117, 124. So really, since round 11, last half of the season, his floor is really at that 90 mark. If you take out the 66, 124, you're getting 90 to, 95 most weeks. Look, there's potential. You know that he's on kicking duties. GWS Bulldogs, Port, Gold Coast, Collingwood. I'm not a huge fan of Stephen May, though. He's a bit of a knob, but look, he's an option. Himmelberg, I've been there, done that last year. Was it the year before that? Works some weeks, not the other. This is a bloke here who I'd go. A roo for a roo, I think. Colton McKercher. Now, I've talked so much this year about bringing in guys, trading out guys, bringing them in. Yeah, Martin, Fisher, who's pissing off again now. Grundy. Oh, could I do it to myself again? And remember, but silly me didn't actually start Colton McCurger, which makes this even worse. I started the great Sam Berry, the GOAT Sam Berry, who's actually had a pretty solid month ahead of this bloke, which was just rookie mistake from me, just unforgivable type stuff there. But he's got that DPP. You know that he's got the role that I was hoping Fisher would continue to have. He's a talented player. Question marks about whether he'd get up last week after some soreness. That's probably the main thing that concerns me with trading in Colton McCurcher. The fact that he's a young kid. We know that he's missed a bit of footy this year. And the soreness last week, well, he's going to continue to get sore and sore, isn't he? And it's not like North are, they have to push for finals or anything like that. Like they need to be playing their best side every week. I can see him getting a rest. And I wouldn't blame the coaching staff at all for giving Colton McCurcher another rest. So that is a bit of a concern. But if you look at the talent there and probably scoring potential, McCurcher, for me, is probably the man there. What other options have I got? Jack Crisp. What's happened with Crispy? See, I haven't been watching a heap of footy lately. I've just been so busy with the boys and stuff. 146. Because he was a recommendation, 3 weeks ago, wasn't he? Yeah, so 106, 134, 112, 94, 117, 104, 121. And then 68, which we thought probably an outlier, because back to 106. So within the last month, 66, 66, almost didn't say it, right? And then 68. I don't know what's happened with the role there. I'll need to do more research and look at the CBAs and all that sort of stuff, what role he's actually playing. But that is a massive, massive drop-off, isn't it? A massive drop-off for Crispy. Still, what, 18 touches? 15, 17, 22. Okay, so he's dropped off there. Interesting. So, yeah, you couldn't really go Crisp there at the moment, could you? Will Powers a pod? You could take a look at 472. Well, Duggan. Ali's been in reasonable form. You look at the 3-rounder and the 5-rounder, 92.7 and 96. So we're getting a 90s type play here. Sard, very, very up and down. I couldn't go there. Combin's a bloke that some people would say would make sense if you want to keep on to that DPP. But as a forward, break even of 125. Yeah, I'm sure he was a defender here, wasn't he? And then he's gone forward. Yeah, I'm assuming so. So, no to Charlie. Where's Sam de Koning? Massimo at 433. I couldn't life me bring back in a Massimo, could I? This was an injury game. Since round 10, 102, 107, 103, 92, 106, couple of 91s, a 30 and a 106 bounce back. Would he be the worst trade in at 433 and it gives me 70K in the bank from the last trade? Adelaide, GWS, Carlton, Richmond, North. Richmond, he went the 106. GWS, Adelaide, GWS, he went the 92. Adelaide, 103. Do you know what? He's an option. Do I jump on this roller coaster? The good thing is that you know he'll play each week and you know he's got a big ceiling. And if he's the type of bloke that you're looping, then it's probably the type of the player profile, isn't it, that you like? What you don't like is his lack of DPP. Yeah, look at that. So 135, 64, 125, 58, 95. Is he coming up? Oh, okay. Adelaide, Rowan, West Coast. So this is a nice end, but this isn't nice here. You could wait on this. I reckon I'd still be able to, even if Fisher went right down at his price, assuming he doesn't score overly well against Sherry, you could go there next week, maybe. You could certainly go there this week. Boston, Heppel, Guthrie, Short. Okay, yep. So from here, you're just looking at Salem, Bailey Scott, 120. Nah, okay. Yeah, so from here, you're probably then looking to go down to your Humphreys type, really, aren't you? And after a 60 last week, probably not. Now, the other option I've got, if I don't actually get rid of Fisher, let's just say Yo doesn't play this week, the options become a lot more stomachable here. So I've got almost 550, so 547, so just under Ridley. So that's frustrating. Like a Jordan Clark again. And then even with a Yo, I'm at 5K away. Or do you know what? That looks nice, doesn't it? This is if Yo. So what do I do? So my two options are if Yo is out this week. Well, I've got three options. I back Fisher in, which I don't think will be an option for me. I trade him to Colt McKercher. That's option 2. Or option 3 is I just trade Yo to a player that I'd be more comfortable with over McKercher, like your Ed Richards. It's not Richards. You've got Hayden Young there, who I don't mind. Really, could I bring him back again? Cal Wilkie, I know he might be good, but... And then I could get Stuart Rivers Holmes. So, yeah, if Yo's out, it's going to be a tough decision what to do, whether or not to move on this man here or just get rid of Yo. But I'd much rather have a Yo there and a McKercher than, let's just say, Richards and a Fisher, because this is just, it could be a nothing pick. It could be a absolute brick at 473 just sitting there. So, yeah, big decisions for me this week. Big decisions. I won't actually make any trades for now, but that's my thought process, I think. Geez, I've got to coach a basketball game. Well, 3 basketball games very, very soon coming up here. So I better finish off with Capitanos. Now, look, to be honest, I wouldn't even listen to what I'm going to do with the captain because I haven't nailed a captain that seems like forever here. Some of mine doing, others, a little bit unlucky at times as well. But Carlton, Port Adelaide, well, Butters, he couldn't do it against Richmond at home. Do you trust him? North against Geelong. Do you know what? I haven't actually used him in the loop. Do I just do that? Do I just VC the Shees? Blundstone Arena. I may just do this. I may just go the Shees. Gold Coast and Brisbane. Do I back Chocky in? They won't tag, will they? Did they tag last week? Real, Anderson, Flanders. They wouldn't put Real on him, would they, at stoppages? Maybe into Chocky. Saints and Essendon. Oh, I'm losing a little bit of faith in Zerrett, but you could go there. You definitely could go there. Don't know what they're doing tag-wise at the moment. The D's and the Giants. Oh, I've got enough faith in Tom Green. Do I have enough faith in Max Gawn coming back from injury against Big Kizza at the G? Neil into Gorn. She's into Gorn. She's into Neil. Oh, it's a little bit risky, isn't it? West Coast Freo. Does the Schlong come back into play? We know what Lockie did to them the other week. Oh, geez, I don't mind that doesn't sound great. I don't mind the Schlong. Yeah, it could be a decent captain option. Richmond Collingwood. Dacos against Richmond. Oh, wowee. Wowee. Seems like there are almost too many options. Sydney and the Dogs. The Bont. Does Grundy loves the SCG. And then Adelaide doesn't do anything for me with the Hawkers. Cordwell is a pod. I'll tell you what, this is really, really tough. This is really, really tough. I really like Sheasel, actually. I just think he's so safe, and I just want to just bank a nice 120 plus safe type score for a captain. Is Dacos safe against Richmond? We thought Butters was, but surely at the same time he's due for a monster, isn't he? We haven't seen him in a while. He got in a nice run, didn't he, with 150s? Yeah, look at this run: 150, 147, 105, 130, 156. So all we've seen the last month is a 116. He's too good for that, isn't he? Collingwood will get up for this game against the Tigers. Surely they'll have to. Will Graham be back? Maybe wait on team sheets, but I may... Do you go the two young guns? Right next to each other there. The two young fellas. Outs for this week, so this will be my loop here. So that's at 8:10. So I'll have to... yeah, so it will most likely be either Sheasel or Chocky into your Gorn, Sarong, or Dacos, I think. Just for now, we'll go with the young guns here. She's into Dacos. So, guys, that is it. I'll leave the video there. I won't go through a heap of forward trade scenarios and all the rest. Leave your comments down below. Any request for the stocky this week? I did another live, just been really running out of time, been super busy lately, and lots of people did enjoy the live. But again, if you prefer the old way with the slides, happy to do that. I should have a little bit of extra time up my sleeve this week. So if you want the old way, let me know. But either way, put your requests down the bottom here, and I'll do my best to feature them as stocky this week, however we do the stocky. So guys, all the best of luck for this week. Good luck with your trades. Tomorrow night, we'll be doing the Supercoach Swordplay potty, and we have a special guest, the biggest Supercoach YouTuber there is. I'm a little minnow compared to this great man. Runs one of the biggest Discord servers in the world as well of Supercoach. So I'm sure you'll know who he is after those two clues. But if you haven't worked it out yet, make sure that you tune in tomorrow night. Very excited to have one of the absolute goats on the channel to co-host the Swordplay potty. Apart from that, I will be doing another special podcast this week with some of the smaller YouTubers out there that you may not be aware of the great stuff that they do. So want to highlight some of the smaller YouTubers in our community. And when I say smaller, it's not due to quality. It's just hard to get your name out there sometimes. So I'm really passionate about doing that. So that'll be an exciting video. And of course, we'll have the stock in some way, shape or form. So all the best of luck for this week, guys. And I'll see you soon in the next one. Cheers. Bye.